time for another life update video. I'm supposed to a few times a year. I'm supposed to talk about what's going on in life, and I'm always just get distracted. I guess don't want to talk about depressing things. But if you like videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel. Even though these are kind of videos for me, sort of to look back on maybe. So what's going on with life? I guess it's been 3 years, but I'm officially, assuming I don't get fucked up before I get on the plane, I guess I'm finally 3 years after leaving, because I'm finally going back to Japan, basically, right? I was supposed to live in Japan for 6 months, or I had a free place to stay for 6 months. My friend does real estate, and he was like, I've known him since I've been very young, pretty much. Well, young-ish, I guess. And he was like, hey, I'll give you a free house in Japan for 6 months to stay at. You know what I mean? Now, of course, I couldn't stay there for 6 months straight, but the plan was basically I would stay there for a few months, probably come back, do some doctor stuff, whatever I'd do, medication, then go back there for a few months. Well, basically, COVID happened, saved all my money for that, well, other stuff. Lodging was free. But COVID happened, and, I don't think anyone had a plan B for COVID for 3 years, but so basically, I got a message, or we were talking. He's like, dude, I didn't think Japan was ever going to open up again, more or less. So I've been putting all the properties up for sale. So you need to get to Japan as lickety split, paraphrasing, I guess, as possible. Get to Japan while you still can, while I still have a place available for you to stay. Because I don't think there's going to be a place for you to stay in the spring anymore. I don't exactly know how long you can stay, but get here. So I'm supposed to leave for Japan very soon. It's very quick notice. Unfortunately, it comes at a bad time. I'm just not in a really good, positive mood lately, to be honest with you. I haven't been doing well health-wise. I guess to get into all that, just the more recent stuff. I went to Turkey. My entire summer got ruined by going to Turkey, sadly. Turkey was it was a very bad, it was an experience. Turkey was an experience, right? But it was a lot of bad experiences sprinkled with a few good experiences. Some of the people were nice. It was nice to meet some of the people. The views were cool, but and the cats were amazing. I love the animal aspect of Turkey, but pretty much everything else that could have went wrong in Turkey did. I got sick every day, and if I get sick, what are you going to do? That's the life of a sick person. So got that really bad food poisoning. Then I came back to America in and out of the, emergent or, doctor, urgent care, whatever. You know what I mean? And man, they could not get rid of this, a simple E. coli infection was just destroying me and killing me, dude. And they tried to give me some medicine to make me better. And it just, oh my God, got sick from the first medicine, had a allergic reaction to the second medicine, broke out, pimples, acne everywhere. And then from being in the hospital all the time, I got COVID for the second time. And, excuse me, lo and behold, although COVID was worse the first time in terms of, when it was going on, not that COVID the second time didn't suck, but this second time I got COVID, I now have long COVID. So I've been very sick, even, months later. The fatigue is insane. I'm actually shedding all my hair again, which that's fucking morally depressing. Who knows when that's going to fucking stop. So COVID the second time, now I got long COVID. Besides that, health-wise, a very weird thing. So if you recall, or well, I guess if people are watching this and not me, I did all that radiation, the radioactive stuff to kill my thyroid when I was younger. And I remember when I did that, even when I was younger, I remember it did not go exactly as planned the first time. And you can go back and look in pictures. Normally someone does all this stuff, oh, maybe you'll lose your hair, but it will grow back. But I was 2 years of wearing that hat because of, it was just over and over and over again. Like my thyroid, it really did not want to die. So it was like a slow burn, and it was just whatever. That's why, if you go back and look at the time, it took me years to actually grow back my hair from all that stuff because I was just fucked up. And they're like, yeah, well, it didn't kill it all. Whatever. Point is, basically, I've had a lot of, other health problems, obviously, throughout my life, but I've been having some weird, not always normal hormone problems recently. And so they did an ultrasound of my thyroid, and they're like, well, good news, no cancer, no tumors or anything, but your thyroid has somehow grown back full in size. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I was at the ultrasound girl. She's like, you did do the radioactive iodine and all this other stuff to kill your thyroid, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, wow, that's weird. She's like, I've never seen that before. Your entire thyroid is back. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it's all there. And they do the blood tests and all the antibodies are still attacking my thyroid. But they're like, well, you don't have cancer. They're like, you could do radiation to try to kill it for good this time. But, and it's so weird. This is actually the scariest thing, right? So I'm trying to read about how common this is. And basically it's like, well, it's sort of plausible. It's plausible that it could maybe somehow grow back a little bit if when they did the radiation, they didn't kill it all, since I wasn't like surgically removed, but it's just very fucking rare. And even when I look online, it's like, oh yeah, here's one study of a guy who was 55 years old and somehow his thyroid grew back in full. So I guess it's not very common. And the disheartening thing is when I talk to doctors, they're basically like, oh yeah, it's basically goes from that's weird, that's really fucking weird, we don't know what to do, to basically like a sort of even ground of like, well, I could see because you did radiation that maybe it might be there a little bit, but it's weird that the full thing is there. But it's not cancer, so you could just do radiation if you want to kill it again. Like that's like the pot, and I'm like, can I get like a little bit better, like you know what I mean? That's what you guys are telling me? I'm like, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But that's something weird that's going on. Anyway, God, like I said, I think the only thing that was not really bad since the past time I did a health update, I think, not involving COVID, but like a yearly health update, is like cluster headache wise, it has not been that bad of a year comparatively, I think. Still chronic migraines and everything like that, but compared to last year, last year was one of the worst cluster headache periods I've ever had, in my life. And this year has not been that bad, but everything else, you know what I mean? COVID fucked me up the first time, really sick. And I never got all my smell back from that, which sucked. COVID the second time, and now I got long COVID, I guess the fucking second time. Hormone stuff, all the regular stuff. I've still been struggling. Workouts are a struggle ever since I fell down the stairs like over a year and a half ago. I know they're talking about doing surgery. I'm like, I already did surgery on my hands before. I don't want to do that. And like, well, you got arthritis in your arm now and bone spurs. So yeah, besides, the nerve damage that is like still there, we could do, nerve surgery. You know what I mean? But yeah, we have arthritis and like a bone spur there as well now. So it's been a fucking struggle, for like over a year and a half now to fucking work out because of this fucking arm. And I guess that's just not gonna get better. I don't know what to do, dude. I always feel like, man, if I could get if you could just guarantee if going on the TRT would not make me lose all my hair, all that kind of crap, and I'd have no side effects, then I feel like, because I'm just so fucking tired in this like long COVID, dude. No, it just is. And anyway, so man, what a long thing. So I'm like, man, I got so much health stuff going on. I'm super fatigued. You know what I mean? But besides all the other health stuff, normal health stuff that is going on, I'm like, man, I got to get to Japan very soon. And I'm just like, man, I'm not really in a good mindset for it, to be honest with you. Health-wise, I'm so tired. Just not in a good mindset for it. I mean, you think about life could be so, it's like kind of a downer and defeat. I mean, I even think like, man, it's been a year since I had COVID. If you just think like, man, one of my hobbies, a petty hobby, not like a super invested hobby, but, a hobby that there was a little bit of investment for sure. Just say fragrances. It's just like, man, that's just something. It's been a year, and I heard once you get to a year, that's basically the smell that you're left with COVID. Like most people, once you get to a year, you don't really get much better than that. So I'm like, man, I only got half my smell back after COVID. And you just think, wow, there's just a part of my life, a small part, not a big part, but a small part of my life that is now was just almost a waste in a sense. Not a total waste, but just a hobby that I can't really do. And then I think about what were my other hobbies in life? You know what I mean? I think about, say, something like video games or something like that. And I always say that I realized, was it a year or 2 years ago? I said, like, I realized that, wow, I could leave video games and nobody would ever catch what I've done for fighting games tech wise. You know what I mean? And I realized, like, it's kind of like depressing. Like, I feel like, again, I always say that my life feels like a lot of moral victories, but moral victories don't get you very far. I'm like, man, no one is, consistently done what I've done for video games year after year, game after game. I think obviously we saw just what happened with Street Fighter 6. We're like, man, why don't people try this? I looked at the game for 5 seconds. Oh, now people, oh, they tried it. Oh, it works. It's just like, it's like a curse. I feel like video games are a curse. And sometimes it's almost scary to me. I think that one of my talents, for lack of a better word, it's scary. I feel like, man, sometimes I get scared. Like, am I actually good at video games? You know what I mean? And I think that, I had played, I guess it would have been at the very beginning of this year, the end of last year and the very beginning of this year. I played a little bit online again, and I'm just like, man, no practice, not playing games for, in years, and I just destroying people. And I see the hate the community has to try to hide it. And it's like, dude, I just think it's like video games feel like a curse to me. Like, I'm like, is this something, is like the thing that I'm good at an actual curse? Does that make sense? It's scary too. And I'm thinking, you know what? And I'll never be able to take advantage of it because I can't use my hands that long anyway. You know what I mean? I always say I'm surprised that I'm able to do what I'm in video games because I don't know how I beat people like I do. You know what I mean? I'm surprised when I've been able to win. And I'm sure tons of people can beat me, but it's not happening when I randomly play. And, well, the Fightcade thing, they eventually just got me kicked out because they couldn't beat me. But that was another story. And I just think, like, man, I think people making money on video games that, there's no real talent there, so to speak, when you see it's just a big circle jerk of like fakeness. And it's like, man, because I didn't want to be part of a circle jerk, because I don't want to lie about stuff, I am shitted on. And it's like very morally depressing. And then I even think like, well, man, maybe I should just try to force myself to play more and more. And it's like, dude, like it's painful to play. You know what I mean? I need to, and it takes energy. It sounds stupid, but it takes energy to play video games, even for the little bit that I do. Like, I'm so fucking fatigued all the time. And I got to use any energy I have to try to stay healthy. And then I think about my other hobbies in life that I used to like, drawing and all this stuff, but it's so hard to concentrate and do. And I just even think about Japan. Like, oh man, this fatigue on top of fatigue with this, you know what I mean, like long COVID. I'm trying to buckle down and really practice my Japanese more, but it is so hard for me to read because I'm just so stupid now. Like, ever since that collapse, you know what I mean, 2010, when I had that collapse, it just exacerbated my retardation. Basically, like my idiocy. I don't know. Again, maybe in hindsight, if I ever try to do the TRT, I'll be like, man, that was the energy boost I needed. You know what I mean? But I just think, wow, dude, I feel like sometimes I get scared. I'm like, man, really? Is the one talent, we all have something maybe we're good at in life, you know what I mean? Like, am I actually good at video games? And then, you know what I mean? Like, God, and then you can't even really take advantage of it because of your health. Like, I just think, man, the video game community is so fucking polluted with mentally ill people. And it's like, God, who wants to be a king of paupers, right? But I need to make money some way, and I can't even, my hands, and oh God, people do whatever they can to make people hate me. It's just, oh God, what a fucking cursed life. What a cursed life, dude. Oh my God, fuck. I don't know what to do. So I'm not really in a good mindset, but I got to take advantage of going to Japan while I can. You know what I mean? Take advantage of the opportunity that I'm given. God, I just don't even think I'll be even. I feel like the first time I went, or the first couple times I went to Japan, so to speak, I was like, where I'm like, man, maybe I'm not gonna like Japan as much as I would have when I was a kid, because I'm not that much of a nerd, right? But I was surprised because I'm like, man, I enjoyed Japan more than I thought I would, even though I didn't really care about the video game aspect of Japan. I didn't care about the nerd culture, so to speak. It was just, something different to do. And that was fun. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised I like this much, even though I'm not really a nerd anymore. And now going back, I'm like, or getting ready to go back again. Knock on wood, assuming nothing bad happens. It's just like, man, dude, I'm just like in not such a good mindset. Like my health is just kicking my ass too much right now. And it's like, man, what am I going to do there? And I'm trying to practice my Japanese, but it's weird to the people that are watching this. People have no idea what it's like to be legitimately sick, that you start every day with like a half tank of gas. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think, like, it's hard to read. It's hard to concentrate when you're sick. You know what I mean? Like, dude, just working out like, people are like, oh, you have muscle, blah, blah. It's like, dude, how buff I am now, my entire life is dedicated to being healthy. And this is all that I've been able to achieve. You have to like put that into perspective. Imagine a healthy person if they dedicate their entire life to being healthy. My entire life is dedicated to being healthy, and this is all I've been able to achieve. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, 175 pounds, 5'11". It's not that insane if you actually think about it. It just shows how lazy other people are, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Never lifted 50 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know. So I guess that's kind of the life update. What's going? Got to get ready to go to Japan. I don't know what I'm doing. It's scary. It's scary. I feel like it's scary, dude, because I don't know what I'm doing. I have that fear that, man, I'm only getting older, right? I was 3 years of my life just gone with COVID, and I just don't have anything to show for it. And I'm like, oh, well, you have another 3 years of calling video games accurately on YouTube. And it's like, I already proved I was the best at that particular aspect of fighting games already. That was never, you know what I mean? I did Dragon Ball Z just to show that I could do it again if I wanted to. It was an afterthought, So it's kind of like, oh, what a curse to be good at something that is overrun by such delusional man babies. Like, God, and these stalkers on the internet. This apparently, this one girl was telling me that someone was trying to say that they know me. And the proof that they know me is they watch my YouTube, and they were trying to say that they go to school with me, and they knew me from the video game days. They went to school with me. I'm gay. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, then they said, what did she say? She wrote down the guy's name, or she said the guy's name, something Mendoza, Justin Mendoza, Eric Mendoza. I have no idea. I've never even heard of this motherfucker. And he said I went to a school that I never even went to, and I think, oh my God, dude. I'm a huge gay asshole. I'm not gay. I've heard a lot of people say that I'm an asshole, but we've known what those people have turned out to be, right? So I'm thinking, wow, dude. I just think I've had so many weird stalker problems. Like the idea that there are, and I have met, I've actually showed it. It's bizarre. My YouTube is not that big, but I've showed it sometimes. I actually do get stopped in public sometimes. Maybe I just stand out how I look, but sometimes I do get stopped in public. People saying like, you're Clayton Chapman, back in the day they would say Final Showdown, right? But you know what I mean? And to just think that there's somebody in real life that recently, like fucking following me around and like going to people that I talk to and be like, oh, I know that guy. I can show you proof I know that guy. His name's Clayton. I watch him on YouTube. I used to go to school with him. We went to this school together. And I heard this term like, I didn't go to that school. I'm not gay. What in the God? I feel like a normal person, if you imagine somebody, maybe a normal person that imagines somebody, I imagine having sex with that person. That's a normal thing, right? Psychotic, insane people, Not only do they imagine you in fairy tales in their head, they tell other people the fairy tales about you as if they're true. It's like, fuck, all right? So, yeah. I don't know what I mean. I should probably do more in-depth health stuff, but yeah, I guess the thyroid thing, man, that's fucking weird. I don't even know what to say about that. And like I said, and the positive doctors are being like, oh well, it was radiation. We didn't surgically remove it, so I could see a little bit of it growing back. But it's weird that the whole thing is back, full size. And I'm like, so what do I do? Like, oh well, antibodies are still attacking it. I guess you could do radiation to kill it again. All right, like I want to go do all that shit again, dude. Right? That worked out very well the first time. Just like the same thing, how I've developed all these autoimmune diseases afterwards that you guys want to be very, sketchy about. Like, oh, we don't want to say that's why you developed everything because of all the radiation we gave you. It's fucking ridiculous. Ugh. The end.